Riley Morgan.
And I'm Jeff Butler.
And tonight, we are discussing one of the biggest epidemics in the world today, drug use and abuse. It is estimated that 164 million people as of 2018 suffered from a drug use or alcohol abuse disorder. 68% of those were males, particularly young males.
Tonight we will be getting an inside look with some of the locals on the prevalence of drugs in today's society. Our first story is a 17-year-old kid who has been consumed by marijuana.
This story is an interesting one. We'll be talking about a bright young teen and how he got wrapped up in such a horrid drug as marijuana. We sat down with Johnny to see how this addiction came to be. Hi Johnny, would you like to tell us today why you started smoking marijuana?
Yeah, so started when I was about 17. I was a real active guy. I was involved in a lot of sports and extracurriculars, and this came along with a lot of stress. And around the same time, my grandpa died. So to relieve that stress, I turned to marijuana.
All right. Well, would you say that you're addicted to marijuana?
I say I'm justified in its use because it does provide me with a good release from all the stress and reality.
Okay. Would you say marijuana? What's your take on marijuana as a gateway drug?
Well, I would say that marijuana, the effects of it have been reduced.
Really? That's called building up tolerance.
Right. I ended up going for some harder drugs because they did end up providing me the same level of release from reality, but on a more elevated level.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny, for telling us your story today. Appreciate it. The question is, was Johnny in the right when he was using marijuana?
Well, according to Catholic morality, drugs have to be consumed for therapeutical use in order to be in the right.
Therapeutical use is defined as relating to the healing of disease, administered or applied for reasons of health, having a good effect on the body or mind, and contributing to a sense of well-being.
Well, since Johnny was using it as an escape from reality instead of confronting reality, he was only delaying his feelings. Therefore, it was not therapeutical use. Now we'll sit down with another substance abuser, this time a substance that is present in all of America: alcohol abuse. 88,000 people per year in America die from alcohol-related causes.
I sat down with former high school student Steve, who is a regular abuser of alcohol. Here's what happened.
Steve, what caused you to start drinking?
So when I was about 18, I had this girlfriend, and we were really close with each other. I would say she was my best friend, and eventually she dumped me, and I got really depressed after that, so I turned to alcohol to kind of help me get through it.
So did drinking bring you out of the dumps? Figuratively, of course.
Sure. The initial result was pretty fantastic. That night I started drinking. I totally forgot about my ex and how she dumped me. But in the next morning and the following weeks, those feelings of sadness kept coming back to me, and I didn't know how to stop them, so I just continued drinking.
Thank you for your time tonight, Steve.
So, the question is, was Steve's drinking in compliance with therapeutical use?
Well, Steve was actually only getting temporary satisfaction from the heavy alcohol consumption. In reality, heavy alcohol consumption can lead to heart diseases, higher blood pressure, and it's harmful to the liver. So Steve was actually hurting his body.
Therefore, it was not therapeutical use. In this segment, we will be talking about much worse drugs, opioids.
Today, thousands of people every year get addicted to opioids. They trace their addiction back to a prescription drug.
We will be talking to a high schooler who started with painkillers but is now addicted to far worse drugs.
What was your first experience with opioids?
Well, it all started back in junior year. I was playing tennis, and I was in the state championship for tennis. I went up for a nice overhand spike. I came down on my ankle where it completely shattered my ankle.
Really?
I had to go in, get surgery, and then for post-surgery, I took a lot of painkillers, which are opioids, to ease the pain.
So you look all healed up. That injury must have been rough. Are you still taking pain medications?
Yeah, I mean, after post-surgery, I was taking pain medications, deal with the pain and everything. And I grew accustomed to, like, the numbing feeling, the relaxing feeling. So even after I was all the way healed up, I kept taking the opioids, like painkillers.
Are you taking anything now to compensate for it?
Well, those painkillers kind of got, like, hard to keep getting, and because, I don't know, they're a little expensive, and it was a lot of trouble. So I turned to heroin because it was easier to get, and because the heroin, I had to get that numbing and relaxing feeling because I'd grown so accustomed to it.
All right. Wow. Thank you for sitting down with us tonight.
So, the question, was Patrick in the wrong when he used the prescription narcotic?
At the start, Patrick was taking opioids for health reasons, and that was therapeutic use. But when he kept using the opioids after he was fully healed, he was no longer using them for health reasons.
Therefore, it is not therapeutic use.
Now we're going to talk about one of the most popular drugs, cigarette abuse, or nicotine abuse. There are 7.5 billion people in the world, and 1.1 billion of those people are consistent smokers.
Our camera crew has been keeping tabs on local Evan from Cincinnati, who has been smoking cigarettes since he was a teen.
Evan previously declined our request to interview him, and now he's embarrassed that he is smoking cigarettes.
So we ventured out of the studio to catch up with Evan and discuss his addiction to cigarettes. There he is. Now let's go.
Let's go.
Hey! Evan! Hey, go. Yeah, got a minute, man? Answer some questions on smoking and your addiction?
I don't know, man.
Come on, your story's gonna help 1.1 billion people out there who have an addiction to cigarettes and can't quit. You have to tell it.
Alright, I guess I got time for a few questions.
All right, thank you. All right. So when did you start smoking?
Well, it was back when I was a teen. I was just trying to be cool and fit in.
Well, what kind of issues have you encountered since you started smoking those cigarettes?
Well, my wife, Jessica, she's always getting on me about how my breath stinks and how it costs so much and how I'm going to have health problems down the road.
Definitely are. Well, come on, man. Have you ever even made an effort to try and quit?
I did one time, but I have 4 beautiful daughters, and I don't want them to breathing in my secondhand smoke, and I don't want them to be going through what I'm going through with these cigarettes. I hate my addiction, but I just can't stop. These cigarettes, man, I freaking hate them.
Whoa! You heard it here, folks. Addiction is hard to break. Cigarettes are hard to quit. You heard it here, folks. Thanks.
Today we have looked at multiple scenarios that resemble the drug use and abuse epidemic that goes on throughout the world today.
I hope we've informed you a little bit more on the morality of drug use and abuse, and thank you for joining us tonight.
That's it for the news.